Really excited to be here today. Really had a nice weekend. Friday was about as nice of an occasion, not just the game, but the entire lead up to it. You know, we opened up the Meyer Center, had a chance to meet a bunch of the benefactors that helped put that on, and really excited about that. We had the money drive for the victims of Boulder, and our student athletes, I thought, did a great job with that. And then, of course, the game, which was something that I was really pleased with, how we played, how we finished, just the grit, determination our team had. So it was, all in all, a good weekend. And now it's time to turn the page. We've got a chance to go back out to Hawaii, where we didn't do very well the last time we were out there. Our guys will be reminded of that today. Our charge right now is to, again, ignore the noise and go 1-0 each week. We're 1-0 in the conference. We need to go 1-0 this week so we can go 2-0. And that's going to be our drive. Got good news, I guess. KC24 is going to be broadcasting the game live here locally. So we're excited about that at 9 o'clock on Saturday, and hopefully the Red Wave will get a chance to watch it. They were instrumental in our game on Friday. I can't remember a time other than being back in College Station where the crowd had that much of an effect at the end of a game with how loud they were when we were on defense. And so I wanted to thank the Red Wave for that, and hopefully they'll get a chance to watch us this Saturday on KC24. So with that, whatever you guys got.
Will you have Jeremiah Toma back for this game, and can you address his situation?
We should. Jeremiah was at our meetings this morning at 6. He had a tragedy in his family that we understood, and that's why he had to not be with us on Friday. He actually left, I think Thursday, well, whatever Thursday practice was that week, Wednesday. And so it was something that obviously we missed him. He's a tremendous leader and very well thought of, teammate, and our thoughts and prayers were with him and his family. He's back now, and he'll be right back in the fold.
It almost seemed like Mickelson played well enough for two guys.
He really played with great intensity. And, Carl will be the first one to tell you there's a lot of things he's got to work on, but if you play with that level and intensity, you got a chance to make things happen, especially on defense, which is such a, emotion tied position. It's something that if you play with that kind of intensity, even though it may not be perfect, you can make plays just through sheer intensity. Carl this week's he was voted as, he'll be one of our additional captains again this week, as will Isaiah Burris, based on his play. So it'll be, Derek and Duran, and then Isaiah and Carl.
Can we talk a little bit more about Jonathan Norton? Not maybe just the play he made, obviously, at the end of the game. People remember that forever now, but maybe just his story and how he became part of the program. He's kind of like a Robbie Rouse on defense type of a guy.
Well, I'll tell you, he's a young man that when we first got here, you notice him because he's probably the smallest guy on the team, and but he's probably very much like Robbie. He's got as big a heart as there is on the team. He's one of those. I talk about guys who are glue guys that bring our team together and are rallying points for our team. He's one of those guys in the locker room. Our guys love how he works. When he's out at practice, he has fun. Whether it's a scout team, whether he's playing, it doesn't matter. He's out there flying around. A year ago we considered putting him on scholarship, and I don't want to embarrass him too much, but I talked to our walk-ons about their value in our program and how we would like to put those guys on scholarship if they earn it, but it's not just value on the field, but in the classroom and the community. Well, 2 of the 3 he was doing well on the field and in the community, but in the classroom he had some work to do. And we gave him a little bit of a wake-up call a year ago after that fall semester. Last spring he was over a 3.0. And so this summer, having seen him make those strides, we put him on scholarship. And again, he's not changed. He still comes to work, and with a big smile on his face, and absolutely loves being part of this team. And I'm sure he likes the fact that he's on scholarship too, at least his folks do.
And did it make that tackle that much more special than it was him that did that?
I think so. I think when you have guys who are role players, that when a big moment comes, that step up into that moment, and he's a guy that's loved by everybody on this team. To see him make that play, I think it's huge. It just adds to that moment.
On the Boise's last offensive drive. How do you balance your natural inclination to want to blitz to dropping back 7 and 8 guys, kind of being safe there? And that's what you did, and it worked. But I mean, is there a tendency?
Well, we blitzed on the last play.
A little bit. I mean, was that
No, we brought 6 on the last one.
That worked.
We played man free. I think what Nick does a really good job, because Nick calls it, at the time, is balance keeping the ball off, in bounds to make the clock continue to move, and change the clock in the quarterback's head, and change looks coverage-wise. To me, if a quarterback always knows you're blitzing, okay, I got to get the ball out on time and go to where my hot read is. If you're always dropping 8, I got all kinds of time, eventually someone's going to get open. But making that quarterback, I got to get rid of it now I got to hold on to it. I'm not sure now because it looks like they're bringing the blitz. That constant cat and mouse game is what we try to get to. And I think for the most part, we're doing a better job of doing that and creating some problems for quarterback.
And now that you have wins against what people saw as the two toughest opponents on the schedule, Rutgers and Boise, do you see the so-called noise becoming more or less difficult to shut out on this team?
I'm sure the noise will continue. We're going to talk to our players about that all the time. But I don't know if you saw what Wyoming did to Air Force and what they've done the last few weeks. I mean, I think they're a very, very impressive team, particularly on offense. Nevada, by the time we play them, is going to probably get on a roll. Trying to think, UNLV right now is 2-2, and I think they've got some very winnable games before we play them. They'll have some momentum. You just never know how early in the season things are going to play out. People, preseason-wise, probably didn't think Wyoming's as good as what I think they're potentially going to be. Who knows what, San Diego State had Oregon State down 2 scores with, I think, 3 minutes left, and unfortunately managed to not finish that game. But, I mean, they're not going to be any, easy games for us.
Coach, is there an update to the Colorado situation? Is that game going to be rescheduled, and with the momentum that you guys have right now, is it something that you would want to reschedule if it means shuffling a couple of things around?
And I know you got to ask. I'm not involved in those talks. I think they're still going on. If you can just keep asking, maybe our athletics director, because I don't talk to him every day about that. I'm not getting updates all the time. So I wish I could tell you more, but I have no idea.
I know with the production in terms of points that you guys put up, it's hard to be critical of the offense. But again, I ask you this a lot of the rushing attack. And, Scott came up big with a touchdown, but he averaged about 2.6 yards per carry again. And when you look at that again, big picture moving forward, the rushing game and where you saw it in Boise, and again, where would you like to see improvements moving forward?
Well, I thought Josh did some good things, not just rushing the ball. A lot of the those carries that got his yardage down were the 3rd and shorts and those kind of things where we weren't having a ton of success. I think he's doing a great job catching the ball on our slip screens, on the check downs, and getting positive yardage. Yeah, we've got to continue to work on that. The other thing in our pass game we've got to work on, we had 8 drops. That's ridiculous. And we've got guys who can catch the football. They've demonstrated it. We've got to be much more consistent with that, and that's going to be a big time point of emphasis this week.
Was Waller not carrying the ball more of a situational thing, or?
It was a little bit of that, but it was also Martez had some injury to his back earlier in the week. Didn't practice very much, and so it was more of that. And Juice was doing some good things, and we just felt that we're just going to stick that with that with Juice in there as opposed to rotating those guys as much as we did in other games.
They're a little too much overhype about going back to the island and avenging a loss. It's not like you're going back there to play SMU. And then second part, can you just talk a little bit about Hawaii?
I don't know that we're going to try to overplay that, other than the fact that regardless of the opponent, in my mind, it's about how we play and how we prepare and how we go and execute. Last year, clearly, we didn't do a very good job of that, and I didn't do a very good job of coaching. We've got to get our guys' mentality that we better execute. This isn't a business, or this isn't a pleasure trip. This is a business trip. We're doing things very different. Excuse me. We're going to be going on Thursday. We're staying away from Waikiki Beach, and it's just going to be like going out to camp and being focused on one game. So we'll use that as far as our preparation. the analogy of the Hawaii game last year, but that's it. Looking at Hawaii, I think they're a much improved team, especially on defense. Their defensive front, I think, is one of the best in our conference. They're particularly strong against the run. Offensively, they've got a quarterback in Graham. I think he's dinged up. We haven't got a report back yet. I haven't seen their two deep. He got knocked out of the Nevada game. I imagine we'll see him play, but I don't know that. We're going to plan and prepare to play him. He's a big guy. I don't know if you saw him at the Mountain West Media Days. I mean, he looks like a couple of quarterbacks we had at Texas A&M. He's a 6'5", 245-pound guy that, kind of stereotypical what you would think an Ohio State would sign coming out of high school. He signed with the Buckeyes when Coach Meyer came in and went to his offense, and he was behind Braxton Miller. He looked for another place that would fit his skill set, and running a West Coast offense out of Hawaii did. And Coach Chow had experience recruiting him at another school, and so they had a connection. And I think he fits what they do. We know going out there is always a challenge for focus, and we expect Hawaii wants to get their season right by coming back home, which they play particularly well, and they'd like nothing better to knock off a team that's 1-0 in the conference.